Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and get airborne for our Analyze Your Trade and Debrief. What a hell of a week, man. Some great trades, great stuff going on in Washington, which is very, very strange to say. Well, actually, it's not strange to say. And just a lot of good stuff going on here as we get ready to take our Christmas break. Hoping everybody's, if you're traveling, safe travels, and if you're getting ready to be with loved ones, that you have a safe and Merry Christmas. We also have a lot of actually some new folks joining us today. I actually opened up this Analyze Your Trade and Debrief session to one of our strategic partners. So welcome aboard to all the folks getting to eavesdrop in on what we do here at Top Gun Options and all the successes that we've been having lately. Man, we've been really hitting it pretty hard. Let me know if you're new. Let me see how many new folks are in here. Thanks, Tim. Yep, going to be staying local down here in South Florida. Looking forward to Christmas with the kids. Okay, welcome aboard, Steve, Joe. Who else is new? Khurshid, welcome. The reason I'm asking is because I want to know how much intro I need to do and how much trading we're going to do. We have a lot of good stuff to talk about, especially yesterday. Let me get a hell yeah if you got into our Brazil trade yesterday, the EWZ. Anybody happy about the Brazil trade from yesterday? We should have a hell yeah. We'll talk about MGM. We're going to talk about potential infrastructure stock. The trade from yesterday was phenomenal. We'll take a look at Brazil, EWZ. You can pull that chart up and start taking a look at it as I do my intro. Folks, welcome to all the new folks. We have a good group of new folks joining us. Like I said, one of our strategic partners emailed and I said, hey, just invite them to our regular Analyze Your Trade and Debrief for the week. I'm Wiz, Hornet pilot by training. Got to fly in a MiG over Pakistan, flew with the Blue Angels, went to Top Gun, did all that cool stuff. Always interested in finance, taught myself when I was on active duty how to trade equity options. I applied everything I was learning flying a fighter aircraft to my trading, having a strategy, implementing tactics, being disciplined, managing risk, knowing when to get out of a bad situation before it gets worse, or even when to get out of a good situation before it gets worse, and applied it to my trading with pretty cool results. Merry Christmas, exactly. We get to say that again. Well, I've never stopped saying it, by the way. Eventually, I wrote a book on me leaving the military and then going to the business world. I did it for years. I still do. I do motivational speaking and consulting for a lot of these type of companies, which is pretty cool. I can't trade in any of these names. I can't tell you what's going on in any of them, but it gives me a lot of SA, a lot of situational awareness as to what's going on in the market. I eventually popped up on the radar of one of the largest vol arb firms, equity options firms. Vol arb is volatility arbitrage, and headquartered right there in the board of trade called Peak Six Investments. Felt a little like Valentine in trading places, but had an absolute blast. I was the managing director of strategy for Peak Six Investments. At the time, it was about a $2.5 billion equity options vol arb firm, and then I was the founder and CEO of the Options News Network. Now, I know John and Pete Najarian pretty well, and they do a great job trying to talk options on CNBC, but it's not, it really is lip service. So we were essentially the CNBC for options. Had a blast doing that. Unfortunately, you can keep your Chicago winners. I'm sitting here in downtown Fort Lauderdale, 29th floor in Icon, looking east behind me towards the beach. I'll take this any day over a day in Chicago, especially today. It's the longest day of the year. It isn't like winter or something like that. So I really don't care. I remember being on the board of trade on a day like today, and it gets dark at like 3 in the afternoon. No thanks, man. You can keep it. All right. Real quick review. Shortest day, that's what it is. Longest night, shortest day. You got it. So here's what we're going to do. Quick review of it is what we do here at TGO. 7 years we've been around, which is a long time in the training space, folks. I plan to be around for triple that. We train, we don't educate. The world's full of educated derelicts. If you want an education, go to Berkeley, right? You can see how the education's going on in the United States here. Thousands of traders, all experience levels. All these things that I'm going to teach you were proven over the skies of Iraq. and also tested on Wall Street. We use that demo do model. I demonstrate, you go do. Our 2016 performance crushed it, but 2017 is even better. We were one of the only financial firms to nail, period. We were the only financial training firm. I was the only guy to predict both a Trump victory and the resulting market rally. So very, very happy with that career call. Our portfolios are doing incredibly well year to date. Like I said, based on our election prediction, man, I mean, we had members with triple digit gains in one position only, a Goldman Sachs trade. One of our members was up about 150 grand at one point in one trade. And the Brexit, you're right, Benoit. I got the Brexit wrong to the tune of 22 grand. I thought they'd stay. I thought it was a coin flip. Didn't matter that I got it wrong. I got it right with the VXX trades, right? So having an absolute blast here. We lose some battles at TGO. Obviously, losing trades happen. Got short Tesla into a short squeeze recently. And that happens, folks. There are some unknown unknowns out there. I remember a trade on Apple 3, 4, or 5 months ago, whenever it was, bullish. And then all of a sudden it had some, whatever their new phone had some booger eater Wi-Fi issues. It was like a day or two long story. It didn't matter. That trade got taken down by a missile. So if you think it's physically impossible to have 100% winning trades, and if you go to any financial training firm and they tell you that's their track record, they're liars. Men lie, numbers don't. It's physically impossible. Most professional traders want to win 60% of the time. Our current win rate at TGO is about a 72%. So nearly 3 out of 4 times when I place a trade, it is a winning trade, and that's a pretty high kill ratio. That is Benoit's at 78. Nice job, man. Exactly, Fish. We'll take 72% all the time. I got a lot of hedge fund buddies that actually subscribe to my service because they get some good trade ideas. All right. I don't want to cover too much of the intro, but just since I know we have some people joining us that are brand new and just checking out what we do here at TGO, I just wanted to introduce myself. So welcome aboard. Yeah, Harry, we'll cover that. The EWZ trade is up 21% in a day. So very happy about that. So let me get out of here. Not a real big slide guy. So our methodology here at Top Gun Options, folks, I'm not going to brief death by PowerPoint. It's called SOT, Strategic, Operational, Tactical. I'm going to give a quick strategic brief. Then we'll get operational and talk about the United States, and then we'll get tactical and take a look at some trades. What do I mean by strategic? A couple of years ago, not many of you could even pick out, Crimea on a map, right? There goes Putin barreling into Crimea, market implodes. Or for that matter, who cares about Greece, right? Well, you cared about Greece 3 years ago when they went through their debt crisis. They're going to get thrown out of the EU, market implodes. No, they're going to stay and do some reforms, market rallies. We made 35 grand trading weekly options around that Greek fiasco. So you have to care what's going on around the world. And here's a perfect example. Just because CNBC or, Comedy Central, as I like to call it, isn't talking about something doesn't mean it's not going on. Cream of some young guy here or the Iranian mullahs don't say, all right, everybody go home. The cameras, the U.S. media aren't paying attention to us, so everybody just knock it off until they start caring again. That's not the deal here. Obviously, I have a lot of connections still in the military. I have a lot of friends who are admirals. I have a couple Marine generals that are buddies. Saw them at the Army-Navy game a couple weekends ago. It is, and I get my morning Department of Defense brief. You have to know that this stuff is going on, folks. The U.S. is preparing for a bloody nose attack on North Korea. What does that mean? That means that we're looking at a potential quick strike. If the guy's getting ready to do another launch, we take out the launch site. Also, obviously, there's some Go teams that are training and have been training to go in and literally take out and capture his nukes. All of this is going on right now, folks. And if you think that Trump is going to back down from this, you're wrong. I've seen reports and heard from some of my buddies at the Army-Navy game, like, he ain't kidding, folks. When friends of mine that are high-ranking dudes say that they're the dudes above them or the women above them are nervous or really like thinking something's going to happen, I sit up and pay attention. I thought something would happen in October. So did a lot of my buddies in the Pentagon who trade with me or listen to me, they gave me counterintelligence that said, "Wiz, we're going to cash and we're getting long vol." Something was going to happen, but President Z said, "You know what? Let me try one more time to sit on our retarded nephew," and it hasn't worked. So we have to keep an eye on this. This is a breaking news story away from the Dow being cut in half to 12 grand and the VIX being up at 50. Is if something goes bump in the night, and it can be bad. This is just as bad, folks. How many of you in your rush around, buy your last minute Christmas presents know that Yemen, rebels in Yemen, which are Iranian, are shooting ballistic missiles in Riyadh? They targeted the airport a month ago. This week they targeted a palace. One of these is going to get through, just like our UN ambassador Nikki Haley said. One of these will get through. How do you think Saudi Arabia is going to respond? The new or the up and coming crown prince, the young dude that's clipping all the other dudes, the palace that was targeted is the main headquarters of the king's office and the royal court. This is a big deal, man. Launching ballistic missiles from Yemen into Saudi Arabia. And of course, as I said, the Yemen rebels, the Houthi rebels, are supported by Iran. So this is bad. We have to keep an eye on this. Mark will talk about that. But yeah, XOM, we have a lot of good trades on right now. But yeah, being long oil ain't too stupid. I don't think that's I didn't see. The whole sector's rising. Maybe this attack happened earlier in the week, Mark. I don't know if they're just waking up to the fact that there might be war in the Middle East. It's a little late, but it's interesting. But we'll get to that. We'll talk about all our trades when we get tactical here in a little bit. Well, Benoit, it is a little bit of a bizarre world. Remember, and you guys, obviously my current members remember all this. Back here, this is when the leader of the free world, you see this dip right here? This is Donald Trump sitting at his New Jersey country club. Literally, here's what his words were. "I'm going to rain fire and fury down on North Korea." He threatened to vaporize 15 million North Koreans, the leader of the free world. Market imploded, and that was a buy the dip. Hell, this dip, the Trump's a racist dip, was bigger than we're going to have a nuclear war. So, Benoit, when you say we're in bizarro market, you're right. I mean, the only thing that's going to cause this market to have its Sanford and Son moment, to grab its chest and finally have the big one, Elizabeth, Red Fox eventually did die and go see Elizabeth, is a shooting war with North Korea or in the Middle East. That's about it. Yeah, Tamara, when you take a look at the fear gauge, the VIX, Christ, we hit an intraday low the other day of 8 something right here. What was it? 8. It didn't close. It didn't have a record close, but it hit its lowest level ever. So we'll talk about VIX here in a little bit and volatility. But let's talk about the good news. My job is to scare the hell out of you and go, holy crap, how can we get killed? What are the threats to my portfolio, and how can I hedge against them? And then now let's take a look at the bullish case. Final Q3 GDP came out today, 3.2%. That's the highest since Q1 of 2015. We briefed earlier in the week that the New York Fed has raised their fourth quarter GDP estimate to 4%. Where's all my liberals? Where's all my Democrats? Where's all my economists? Those who can't teach, right? Where's Ben Bernanke saying 4% GDP is impossible? Where is everybody, folks? Where's all the naysayers who a year ago was saying Donald Trump's smoking crack? We can never get a 4% GDP. This time next year, we will be looking at 4 to 4.5 GDP. You can write that down. Take that to the bank. You'll be a member this time next year, and we'll be talking about 4 to 4.5 GDP. Write it down. Put just like I said, November 1st, write down your XRT trade and your Apple trade. You can write down December 21st. 4.5% GDP. Why, folks? This is the tax cuts. Remember, this is the hope and change rally. This market went up on the hope that Trump would get tax reform passed. We haven't even seen a rally yet. Now, I can't believe I'm actually going to say this, and I said this yesterday. Wells Fargo. Now, for my current members, you know that my favorite financial, we have positions in JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley. You ready for this shocking breaking news announcement? Here at Top Gun Options, the bank that I love to hate, not Goldman Sachs, even though that's true, Wells Fargo. AT&T yesterday gave $1,000. They gave $1,000 bonus to everybody in their company because of the tax bill. Wells Fargo is going to do the same thing. Don't like Wells Fargo, folks, because when 5,000 of their employees steal your data or create false accounts to get bonuses, when the skipper sat in front of Congress, 3 or 4 months ago, he should be in jail. That dude, I really don't get white collar criminals and how they're treated differently than, somebody who's a shoplifter. This is, it's ridiculous. But Wells Fargo is now my bronze medalist. Why? As this money starts trickling down, trickle down works, folks. I'm a prime example. When I look at the impact of the tax bill on me, I'm probably going to hire another 2 or 3 traders, maybe. I'm going to grow my company. I'm going to hire more support people. I'm going to spend more on advertising. That goes into the economy. Go get a small business loan, a home equity line of credit. So Wells Fargo is going to, I hate it, but that might be a Jan20 trade to do. Okay, Rebecca, we'll take a look at all that stuff in a little bit. Benoit, I don't think the tax cut is priced at all into the market at all. We've seen SocGen. SocGen, Societe Generale, said this. It said right here about a week and a half ago that the tax reform is priced in here. I think they're full of shit, man. Once we start seeing the money dropping to the bottom, what are we going to sell on this? How do you sell on, let's say, Q4 earnings? Let's say people come out with Q4 earnings. I know the tax stuff really isn't in that yet. And they come out and say not only was Q4 good, but Q1 is going to be even better because of an increase of 8% in earnings per share because of tax cuts. What do you sell on that? Really would be in bizarro market. And Brian, that's exactly right. Brian brings up a great point, is corporations haven't even really announced what they're going to do with their new windfall yet. Well, I just told you that a couple of them are giving money back to their employees. So, and it's funny, Joe Manchin, Democrat from West Virginia, who's going to lose his reelection because he voted against. I watched him squirm in an interview. Every Democrat voted against it, even ones where Trump destroyed Clinton, like West Virginia. He struggled he actually had to go with there's a lot of good in here, actually. Why'd you vote against it? Well, because if I voted for it, Chuck Schumer would have killed me. He's a coward, right? So you're right. Chuck Schumer's, saying, well, this is a windfall for corporations and, they might just use it for share buybacks. Using my Gordon Gekko, greed is good, portfolio manager mindset, great. I don't give a shit. That's awesome. I hope Apple gets so much money back that they decide to buy more of their shares so our Apple Jan20 position goes through the roof. I think it's great. I don't care if Apple doesn't hire more employees or acquire. I mean, as an American, I do. Remember, at Top Gun Options, folks, I wear 2 suits. My Gordon Gekko suit as a portfolio manager. I don't care. I hope they buy back shares and send the share price through the roof. I don't care about employees. Now, speaking as Wiz in my flight suit, of course I do. I want them to hire more people. I want people to get back to work. That's the other thing, man. This engine, we have record low unemployment. And once companies, I just told you, I'm probably going to hire more people based on my tax savings. So that's a very long answer to your short question, Benoit. No, I do not think the tax cuts are even priced in yet. You bet, Fish. Merry Christmas. I hope everything's going well. So, Benoit, when they try and run on re-election, here's what Democrats can run on re-election. I voted 80% of Americans will see money, will get money back. How do you stand in front of your your constituents and say, I voted against 80% of you getting money back. And don't give me this bullshit about, oh, we're worried about the deficit. Where were you for 8 years under Obama, where the deficit went from 9 trillion to 19? The dude put more debt on our country than every president combined before him. He's the same dude who in 2008, I love this clip, he called President Bush unpatriotic for adding to the debt and, giving an ATM card to the Chinese. It's unpatriotic. Mr. I hate deficits, except for when I'm 8 years in office. And now Democrats hate deficits. The best part about a double standard is they're always on the right side, correct? You guys should be able to see it. No. Yeah, no. I'm still sitting here. I'm flopping around here. HH, you should. It should be the SPX chart. All right, so we got a cruise here, and then look at this. Here's another reason I'm bullish. Holiday spending set to hit 12-year high. I tell you, every Christmas that they go, oh, I don't know if it's going to be a good Christmas. People are a little worried. They blow the doors off of it. That's why we're in our happy place with Apple, right? And I told you FedEx and UPS last week. Usually it's right around now. FedEx and UPS warn like, hey, today's the last day for you to buy something and us to get it there by Christmas. They said that last week. So I remain cautiously bullish. And like I said, I get my DOD brief with what's going on. Here's a scary, well, not scary headline, but you guys wouldn't know this unless I briefed you on it. U.S. military carried out more than 120 airstrikes in Yemen last year. Did you guys know we're at war in Yemen? We're at war all over the place, folks. So Amazon is saying in many areas they could do Sunday. Wow, Brian, I didn't hear that. Awesome. Jim, and among the under 100,000 group, another 10% to 15% see about the same tax bill. It's bullish, folks. You can't, and people bitching that the rich are getting money back too. They pay the most taxes, you moron. I can't stand. That's why I avoid going to Christmas parties and stuff and talking to stupid people. Oh, the rich are getting. I'm like, the rich pay the most of the taxes, you idiot. People that don't understand math, I can't talk to. All right, we got to get going tomorrow. It'll be a dead day, but we'll get some durable goods, some personal spending. I'm going to care about these tomorrow: personal spending and personal income. I want to see if we're spending, if we're making more, all that stuff. So I'll be checking out that stuff. All right, let's take a look at some trades. Last week in our Analyze Your Trade, this session we looked at the Apple Bull put spread, the 170, 167.5. How many of you got filled on this trade? So it's the 170, 167.5 bull put spread for 58 cents. How many of you are in this one? John, well said, man. I never got a job from a poor person. Isn't that correct? It's ridiculous. You give some of the money back to the rich people, and guess what? They hire. Debbie's in. All right, good. A lot of people in it. So we're risking $5,600 to potentially make $2,000. Let's see where that trade is right now. 9 cents. Look at that trade, folks. So let me get a hell yeah. What was that? 58. Look at that, guys. 58 minus 9 equals times how many contracts? 30. How many people can I get a hell yeah if you're up $1,500 in a week? This trade, awesome, Kevin. You closed it at a 50% gain on the first or second day. Woo! Thank you, Harry. Yeah, this is a beautiful trade. This Apple trade is awesome. If you're looking now, remember, folks, with my bull put spreads, what's my rule of engagement? If I'm seeing a 70, 80, or 90% gain in this trade, close it. I take it, like the guy in the song said, go on, take the money and run. So this is a very, very nice trade, or percentage, exactly. I'm talking dollars, but this is up 70, almost 80% in a week. So this is a good trade if you want to bail out of it and take your. Let's take a look at Apple. We might even throw another one on here. That's on my potential trades to do here. Tim closed at 50% to free up capital for another trade. Awesome, man. I know Chuck Hughes. He wasn't a military guy, but yeah, trade with Chuck. So here was our mindset behind this Apple trade. Is Apple? So whoever asked me about the XRT trade, for all the new folks that are kind of eavesdropping on our live trading session right now, let me give you a free trade. It's going to be for a year from now, but literally take out your smartphone right now and open up November 1st of 2018, and you'll remember me. This will be your Christmas gift for next year. Get long the XRT in the beginning of November. Look at the November rally in the XRT. The XRT is the Spider retail ETF. I don't care if it's under Barack Hussein Obama, there were some Christmases where people were warning and retailers it's going to suck and, oh my God, it's an unmerry Christmas. And then, come middle of December, like right now, they're like, oh my God, this is the best Christmas ever. People buy. This is a seasonal trade. Write down XRT in your smartphone November 1st. Put long XRT. Brian, I'm going to move on to the next seasonal trades. The next seasonal trades this time next year would be Amazon and also Apple. So let's stick with Apple since we have a current bull put spread in Apple. So what was the date of that trade? What was last week? 14 December. So literally 7 days ago, we put this trade on. Here it is. So look at that run since we put that on. Here's my strategic mindset. I'd look at another one of these going through Christmas. We might even go out. Apple always, and I know there was some bad news. Well, I'm not going to say bad news, but there was some downgrades this week. I think Nomura downgraded Apple. There's way too many iPhone 10s and all sorts of stuff. Whatever. It's all noise, folks. Apple is going to have a phenomenal Christmas. Anecdotally, going to the God's Waiting Room, the Boca Town Center. I mean, it's a zoo. So let me cover the rest of our existing trades, and then we'll take a look at new ones. EWZ. Look at that, folks. So this was yesterday. There's our accelerated retirement. We put on a bull put spread on EWZ at 16 cents, the 38, 37.5 out to Jan 18. Look at the EWZ today. EWZ had a nice pop. Okay. Look at this. Oh, let me get rid of some lines. I briefed you, not Raytheon, man. Whatever. EWZ. Let me clear drawing. So it's been holding this, 38.5-ish. We talked yesterday. And then I also said that it's kind of got this bearish descending pennant. And I also said, what happens to these? I said, as this gets tighter and tighter and tighter, it's going to pop or drop. It's going to. FXI is also seeing a good pop. So we put on this bull put spread yesterday, the 38.5, 37.5. Let's price that out. What's it looking at? January. It was the Jan 18. So make sure 38, 37.5, right? So it's already up. What's that? 5 cents? How many contracts did we do? 150. 150 times 5 equals, that's $750 in a day. Let me get a hell yeah if you like making $750 in a day. I do. Merry Christmas. So that's a good looking trade. Harry, Brian, good. I told you folks, we are having a great time here at TGO with some really good looking trades. You could close this one out for a nice 1 day gain. Benoit, no, I need a double. Hey man, you can stay in this one. I wouldn't get out of EWZ right now. I'd stay in it. It's getting ready for a rally. We had some good news today out of Bombardier. Well, maybe Boeing and Bombardier. Or no, not Bombardier, Embraer. So Embraer is a Brazilian company. and Boeing is in talks to maybe buy it. The Brazilian government has to approve it. Well, and whoever said FXI is having a good pop too. That's another one of our good-looking trades here. Look at that up. This was another one I said, hey, we have a nice bull put spread looking on FXI. So this one is a hold as well. Hold on, and then how about let's take a look at this guy from Tuesday. How many of you got into CSX? So we got into CSX right here, and it's doing that. How many of you got into CSX? Kevin got in. Eli didn't get filled. John's in it. Okay, good. This is a yes, guys. If you didn't get into CSX, this is a Jan20 play. So not only is this a play on the fact that their skipper died and they don't have. Here's why this gap down. For all the folks that are eavesdropping and you're new, I'm not a super big transport guy. I mean, I flew for FedEx for about 10 months. I follow the transports, but they just haven't been on my radar. Now they're going to be. Not only was this an opportunity, so the CEO died unexpectedly. I don't think he knew he was going to die, but they don't have again, in my book, we just got a new lifetime member, so she's getting a book. In my book, I talk about succession planning and how imperial CEOs don't like to think about their own mortality. They don't succession plan. So they're scrambling right now to find a new skipper and get back on their turnaround plan. But here's the other reason I'm bullish on CSX. This was a great Gordon Gekko moment. The dude dies, the stock implodes. It's not going to implode forever on the dude dying. This is a quick, quick strike trade. If you were not filled on this trade, I'd still get in it. Remember, it's a Jan20 long call diagonal. Now, we can also trade the front months on this one on CSX. Now, CSX, as many of you know, is a railroad. I love the fact that the president has already moved on. Tax done. He's not going to sign it this year because it would play right in the Democrats' hands of, oh my God, he's cutting Medicare and Medicaid and evil. He's evil and people are going to die. All right, whatever. I'll sign it in January. He's already moved on to the next big center of gravity from his campaign, which is what? Infrastructure. Now, leave it to the Democrats and the Republicans to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat or defeat from the jaws of victory. It should be bipartisan. Unions, Moose and Rocco are going to be building the roads, the concrete, the steel. When we had the tragedy earlier this week with the train derailment, I don't. Trump had to use that obviously for politics and say, "Hey, we need infrastructure spending." I would be bullish on this. It's already. So we talked about this. There's a gap move down. It's filled the gap, and it's making a little. This little retracement is to be expected. So there are other guys looking at this chart like I've done. Gap down. It went through half the gap, and now it's hanging here. If it holds this half the gap right here, this 54.5, it's bullish. If it comes back down through it, it's bearish. So I would be maybe in a mood to put on a front month trade on CSX. Okay, we have a lot to cover today and little time. So. Well, guys, that was going to be kind of my segue to my next conversation. I think Caterpillar. So now we have to start taking a look at, well, let me wrap up with this. Our JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley trades are crushing it. Look at JP Morgan up another. We put on a bull put spread. Did anybody get into how many of you are in the JP Morgan bull put spread? What was that in? It was in, what the hell was that in? I don't have it in front of me. 54.60, Harry. Yeah, Kevin, the JP Morgan long call diagonal is very, very, very nice. Raytheon, well, you know what? Let me cover. Man, we have a lot to do. There's a lot of good going on. It's a target-rich environment. And we're looking good. Well, we covered that yesterday, guys. I covered this throughout the week. JP Morgan downgraded Raytheon. I really don't care. The Air Force reported Uh, a over 200% increase in foreign military sales. Trump signed a multi-billion-dollar defense agreement with Saudi Arabia when he was over in Asia. South Korea and Japan said we're going to buy a hell of a lot more of U.S. toys. Look at this trend. This is like that mountain climber in The Price is Right. You know, the yodeler yodeling up the hill. I've talked about this, guys. Bounce, bounce, little through, bounce, little through. So somebody on StockTwits was like, this is catching a falling knife, and I'm going to do the opposite side of your trade. I said, done. So it pulled back to this retracement here, and it's hanging. This ain't a falling knife, guys. Whoever that dude was on StockTwits, I'm like, you need to become a member. That ain't a falling knife, okay? This isn't even a falling knife either. This was crappy earnings. You want to tell me that's a falling knife, dude, on StockTwits? This rally's under Obama. Now we have a president that actually likes the Department of Defense and actually uses stuff to blow people up. Yeah, exactly, Kevin. We got JP Morgan in here and Raytheon. JP Morgan, I couldn't disagree more with they moved them to neutral. You know, I guess you can call it a downgrade, but man, I love it. So this is a yes. If you're not in the Jan20 Raytheon trade yet, or any of the bull put spreads, I would get into it today. All right, so we have our sectors now. We have our 6 sectors, including our Captain Kirk trades on Brazil and China with FXI. So everything is looking good. The only thing that's a little iffy is Friday's trade for MGM. Got another pop out of MGM today. This is to be honest with you, that's a little bit of a short squeeze right here. This trade is 33.5, 34 is the bear call spread. I'd hang in it. Right now it's at the break even price of like 33.67 or something like that. So it's at break even, but I'd hang. Remember, it's a bear call spread. Every second that I'm talking about this bear call spread, you get what? You get a little bit of theta. So between now and tomorrow, you're getting theta. And I just don't see. I mean, we can have a rip your face off rally again tomorrow, but Friday into Christmas, I just don't see super, this is a hold for me. This is a watch and this is a hold. So that's the only one that's a little reddish in my book. Okay, anything else before we talk about new trades? So, infrastructure spending. This is going to be, Caterpillar's had a little bit of a run here. So XOM, good catch. XOM, it's still underneath. So we have an iron condor. We have a Jan20 long call diagonal we got into over here, and then we've thrown on 2 or 3 bull put spreads, and big move up, and it's based on oil today too. A little bit of risk premium coming back. Kind of a risk on day for oil and some of the bricks. This is a hold. I don't think this is I don't think this is anything to. It's above. Where's our iron condor range? Stop. So it's testing right here. Remember, this was iron condor central. We loved it. We printed money, $11,000 worth of iron condors in here. We're outside of that range right now, but you got to hang. You have to wait to see if this thing is a short-term pop and it's going to pop out of that range. And I need tomorrow, this time next week, we'll be talking about this. I'm not doing anything right now. The short strike is the 84.5, and even after a full percentage pop today, we're still below the 84.5 strike. Okay. So yeah. Well, no, and I'm sorry. I'm thinking a longer spread there. It expires tomorrow. Correct, Brian. So I don't. Again, kind of like MGM. This is a hold. No problems with ExxonMobil Iron Condor, and that'll be another $4,000 profit. So we've made close to $20,000 in 2 months on ExxonMobil trades. Very, very solid trading. Harry, that's a yes. I would. It's still a good Jan20 long call diagonal. Yep. So go back to that webinar and watch the long call diagonal that I put on for ExxonMobil. All right, we got to talk new trades, folks. I don't want to run out of time here. So there's a couple ways to play infrastructure spending, and you're going to be shocked by. So let me get this out of the way. I know we're in JP Morgan. I know we're in Morgan Stanley. If you're not in any of those yet, and you're looking for a new potential Captain Kirk financial, it would be Wells Fargo. I mean, it's up. I get it. It's up another 2.5% today. This is a Wells Fargo's had a nice run in the past month. But if you're looking out to January of 2020, I mean, hell, man, it's going to have an even nicer run. There's a reason the financials are running. They're going to be able to lend more money. The people are going to be. Wells Fargo's a mom and pop bank. It ain't a Goldman, JP Morgan, or Morgan Stanley. It's its own, mom and pop bank. The mom and pop bank, I think, is really going to benefit from the tax from this. So next week when I do my 2018 brief, I'm going to tell you to buy the financials with both hands. Harry, I don't trust Wells Fargo. I still think they're shitty for stealing clients' data and making up fake accounts so they can get bonuses. 5,000 employees, folks. That's as many people on an aircraft carrier. That when you have a culture in your company that rewards stuff like that, it's dangerous. However, Harry, what did they say? They've testified in front of Congress, and the old skipper was groveling there. The new skipper says we're going to fix stuff. You got to take them at their word for now that they're turning around Wells Fargo, and it's not going to be dirty. So I'm not going to cover a trade on this. I'm throwing that out there as a trade idea. We have our JP Morgans and Morgan Stanleys. If you're looking for another financial, I do this. Okay. Phil, Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, love it. Absolutely. All right, but let me get moving, guys. I'm not going to ignore your questions if we have time at the end. I need to talk infrastructure. So, Caterpillar, it's usually it's had this slow climb schedule, folks, but I think it's really, really, really going to have a good 2018. I think these industrial stocks, these infrastructure stocks are going to have a run just like the financials did into the tax debate. These are going to have a run. We're going to need to be moving steel, concrete, people, stuff. So we could look at Caterpillar. It's very expensive. It's $154. Does anybody have a potential other infrastructure play? Not Deere. This is going to be something I talked about this week. That I most likely wouldn't touch, but now I'm coming back to it, man. I'm actually changing my mind on a potential. It's probably not going to come to mind right away. Let me see if anybody gets it. X. Craig and Susan both said X. XLI. Val says X. Major contractors. Brian. Tim says X. Kevin keeps trying for new. I'm not a new guy. AKS. X. Halliburton. Eaton, Ted, Eaton's not bad. BIP, Cheaton. Everybody's wrong. No, I'm kidding. You guys are all right. Those are all good. I like everything everybody just said. Graham with a Home Depot. Mark, we have Caterpillar up here. Eli with IR. No, you ready for this? GE. Yeah. So I bashed the hell out of this thing lately, right? Wow, exactly. Tamara, I like waste management. I like you thinking outside the box. Look at that chart, guys. General Electric is going to be a massive, exactly, Brian, no place to go but up. Craig just put on, there you go, just sold a bull put spread. No, it is the dog of the Dow, guys. Brad was thinking about this morning, a long call diagonal. Exactly. And Benoit's seeing bullish divergence on GE. Guys, listen to me. GE is in everything. When you think about it, take a look. the damn noon train that comes through Fort Lauderdale every day. They're in locomotive. They build engines for airplanes. They build locomotive engines. They're in medical imaging. They're in everything, folks. GE is in everything. It's a massive conglomerate. It stands to benefit from infrastructure spending, period. All these medical companies that are going to get, more money. Hey, let me upgrade all my imaging equipment. Let me buy some new locomotives, aircraft engines. Folks, this is a dog, and I'm finally ready to get into this. Okay. John, good. John put on a long call diagonal 2 weeks ago into this. Well, Harry, I just gave you your elevator pitch. This would be catching a falling knife. This is it's Can it go lower? Sure, it can. I don't think it's going to. I had a good phone call today with one of my buddies who is in this space, and he agreed. I mean, I called him to red team, and he's like, Wiz, this base right here is the market saying, okay, enough. This is stupid. The GEs with the amount of money they make and the things that they do, this is dumb. So can it go lower? Sure. If you look, it hasn't had a stable period. Look at this until now. Has it found a bottom? I don't know. Only in hindsight. Okay. So, Wiz was waiting for the 1735 price. Exactly, Mark. I wish I could talk like that. Tiffany, GE can easily go to 14. I've played it short since 30, waiting for it to cross the 50-day before doing anything on it. Tiffany, who's to say it's going to do that? I respect what you're saying, but let's take a look. The 50 days in blue right here. It's so beaten down. I almost want to say this is almost a Captain Kirk trade, but I reserve that terminology, boldly going where nobody's going, for my Brazil or kind of China. It's time to get in the GE, in my opinion. Of course it can go lower, but when you're looking at a January 20 trade that far out, who cares if it goes $1 or $2 lower, when by, I don't know, January of 2020, it's back up to being a $30, $40 stock. So let's take a look at a long call diagonal with a protective put. So this is a tactic, folks. So if you're, some of you, you've been pounding it into the dirt here. Remember, with a long call diagonal, it's a bipolar trade, right? You can be long-term bullish and short-term neutral, or even short-term bearish. So don't forget that with this tactic I'm going to show you, you can be two things. Wiz, I agree. Infrastructure spending is going to help GE. More locomotives, more aircraft engines, more medical imaging devices, more of what GE does. It cannot hurt. So can GE go lower? Sure. Will it? I don't know. I don't care. But I'm going to be bullish on it out to January of 2020, but I'm going to be short-term neutral. I'm going to sell some front month upside calls that are pretty damn close to at the money. Okay? Or, Kevin, we could look at synthetic stock. You know what? Maybe we'll do that because we haven't done a synthetic stock trade in a while. All right, so here we go. Everybody strap in. We're going to hop in my F-18 Hornet and go the speed of light. We're going to go all the way out on our options train to January of 2020. Okay? Exactly, Mark. All the regional railroads buy the GE engines. I've seen it. The F-18 Hornet that I flew had the GE F404 engines in it. So here's how we do synthetic stock. GE is at $17.47. I've gone out 757 days into the future. 757. They have GE engines too. So there is no $17.46 strike. There's a 15 and then there's an 18. Usually I go to the closest, at the money option here. I'm actually, when I do synthetic stock, I'd rather go a little bit more in the money. So what is synthetic stock? First of all, this position acts exactly like being long GE stock, but you don't own the shares. Here's what you lose when you use synthetic stock with options. You lose your right to vote. because you're not a shareholder. I could care less. Carl Icahn and other activists, your vote doesn't mean anything anyway. Doesn't matter how many shares of GE you own, your vote doesn't matter, okay? You ain't that big. The other thing you don't get with synthetic stock is what? The dividend. Now, I know GE's been talking about cutting their dividend and stuff like that. I don't care. We don't talk dividends here at Top Gun Options. I do with my mom and my mom's portfolio, but not, who cares? I'm not when it comes to me and being a portfolio manager here at Top Gun Options, I don't care about dividends. If that's what you trade, go to a different service, or you can watch me manage my mom's portfolio. So you don't get the vote and you don't get a dividend. Now that we've cleared that up and we say we don't care, now let's take a look at how we put this trade on. If you're new to options, and I know we have, and the room's really full now with a lot of new folks. When you do synthetic stock, let's just talk options 101. When you're bullish, Wiz, you had me at I'm bullish out the GE out to 2020. You had me at that. What could you do? Well, Wiz, I know buying calls means I'm bullish on something. Great. So buying calls is bullish over here. What else is bullish? Selling puts. Right? You know that buying puts is bearish. That makes sense to everybody, right? I think GE is going to implode. Well, buy puts. I think GE is going to explode. Up. Then you sell puts. So check this out. Let's build this trade together. So I'm just going to click on my options chain here. And I'm going to do, I think they have synthetic stock down here. Where is it? No, whatever. We're going to sell puts and we're going to buy calls. Okay. Now, check this out. I'll keep 10 contracts in here as a placeholder. When I sell a put, I'm bullish. When I buy a call, I'm bullish. With the same expiration and the same strike price, you ready for this? We get long stock. That's the most basic P&L chart you can find, folks. Long stock. GE goes up $1 today, we go up $1 today. GE goes up 1 cent today, we go up 1 cent. It's a 1-for-1 change. So this is a 1 delta position, right? It's a 1-for-1 change. Now, just looking at this P&L chart, check this out. Max loss. Holy crap, Wiz, what are you, smoking crack? I thought based on your $100,000 model portfolios, you don't want to risk more than, maybe $5,000-ish on any one trade, and you'd be right. So what is the risk in this trade right now? What's the risk of synthetic stock? Well, the risk is the same as being long stock, Wiz. GE can go to zero. GE is kind of hovering around, GE right now is flying around along the treetops, folks. Nosedive, pulled out of the nosedive, and now we're just skimming along the treetop. I don't think we're going to fly into the trees and crash. We could. I could be completely wrong. I don't think that's going to happen with this infrastructure bill. I think it's going to rally. So the risk in this trade is what? That blue line is GE, and the risk is it going to zero. How, and this is for all the new folks in the room, not my members. How can we tell the options house or the E-Trade risk management department, don't worry if GE goes to zero, we're protected. And I just gave you the word right there. I gave you the answer. We can buy a protective put, right? So to show options house that we're no dummy, let's go back here and buy a Jan20 disaster put. What would be a disaster? Somebody said if it pounds into 13, that would be a disaster. Whoa. Then why don't we buy a disaster put? And what did that do? Buy 10 of the Jan20 13 puts, not calls. That looks stupid. There it is right there. So instead of, oh my God, GE's going to zero, our losses are stopped out at, exactly, Tamara. Our losses are stopped out at 13. So look at, let me get rid of this real quick. Here's the risk in this trade. 17.9. Okay, but remember the debit's only going to be about. So when I add this disaster put, the 13 puts, what did I just do? The risk went from 17 grand to 5. So let me get a virtual golf clap if you're new to Top Gun Options or you're just visiting us today. Holy crap, that guy just took the risk in this trade from $17,000 to 5. So this crazy guy Wiz, who looks like he's drank too much coffee today, is a sorcerer. He's a magician. No, I'm an options trader, folks. And I told you I have an SOP that says based on a $100,000 model portfolio, I personally don't want to risk more than 5 grand. There it is, right there. Now, I know it says, thanks, guys. Now, all my members compliment me. Now, I know it says, look at this. Well, Wiz, why are you doing this, man? I love this up here, to infinity and beyond. Folks, I get that there's unlimited upside in this trade. Well, we're gonna do some magic. We're gonna do some more magic. So right now, this trade is going to cost me about $3,600, right? That's like me running downstairs, going for a run down the street, and going to the Ferrari dealer, buying the synthetic stock. Hey, $3,600 ain't cheap, man. Why don't we sell? You ready for this? Let's sell a front month. What's the front month? You're sitting in it, folks. The front months are December and January. Why don't we sell some front month upside calls? We could sell the 18s, right? Do they have 18 and a half? Let me open this up. We could sell the front months. Now, what does this thing look like? Look at this. This looks like a synthetic, covered call. Isn't this awesome? So between now and January expiration, I'm going to bring in a car payment of 400 and some bucks. Isn't that cool? So think of GE as a wheel. Every month, we're going to start selling front month upside calls, a little bit out of the money to bring in a little bit of scratch. This is a great tactic, folks. So now what is on your screen, ladies and gentlemen, is a tactic called a synthetic covered call. Does everybody understand that? So let me go through some things. First of all, it's a debit, right? We're coming out of pocket. Currently, what's this say? About $3,400 to do this trade. But between now, if GE by the third Friday in January is below $18, we collect $440. Plus we collect, if GE goes up to like $17.98, we collect the upside in GE plus the money from the short call that we took in. This is a beautiful trade. I love these trades. This is awesome. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. You got it. Now, some of you might be sitting there going, well, Wiz, what if it has a rip your face off rally and by January, this time next month, it's up at 19? Great. The first thing you should do is congratulate yourself. What are you talking about? Well, because you were right. GE has gone up. We want GE to go up. So if it's trading, if we between now and January expiration, we start seeing it rally, we'll manage this trade. I'll send out text alerts and all sorts of stuff. We'll just roll these calls up. So if we sell the 18s, all of a sudden, hey, Wiz, you're right. Huge infrastructure spending. Nobody builds infrastructure better than me, believe me. So this starts to rally on Trump's infrastructure stuff. We just roll these calls up. Or, and I don't want to give too much of my stuff away, if something gets on a tear, let's just say GE, holy crap, infrastructure spending rally, get out of the way. Don't sell any front. Don't put a ceiling on it. Sit back, drink your coffee, and watch as this thing goes on a tear. We've had a lot of these synthetic stock or long call diagonals out to January of 2020 where we just sit on our hands and watch as we print money. Okay? You don't go in Bitcoin. You don't do stupid stuff. You do these type of trades, man. A year and a half to 2 years from now, this trade could be a 30, 40, $50,000 trade, like a lot of our current Jan 18s that are getting ready to expire. There's a lot of Jan 18s. Our Facebook and Apple ones are up about 35 to 45 grand. How many of you would like to make 45 grand in a year on one trade? Now, I know it's not weekly options and it's not tactical and sexy like our other portfolio. Yeah, weekly options are sexy until you get kicked in the gut. So this is nice, steady base hit on GE. So let me do something. I'm going to grab a screenshot of this. Why? Because I'm going to send this out to my members along with a recording of this. And I'll also give all the new people access to this as well. File, save as. Let me go desktop and we'll go GE. I can't believe I'm trading GE. It is. I trade it for my mom. I just can't believe. But it's time. It's time to get bullish on GE. Eli's filled at 340. Oh, let me talk about fills, guys. So Eli got filled right at mid-market. That's great intel, Eli, because I was going to say what? You might have to go up a little bit to get filled. Don't do it then. If Eli just said he got filled at 340, then perfect. Exactly, Kevin. This is a little too good to resist. It's been pounded into the dirt. A new potential member told me she's been, playing this to the short side and might see it go down to 13. I don't know. I'm telling you guys that I know who are saying, hey, man, I think this thing has reached its bottom. It's hugging the treetops, and I think it's ready to catch a bid on some, not only just infrastructure spending, but what, folks? On this tax bill. That's going to go to GE's bottom line as well. Okay? So I just took I highlighted that. Why? Because I'm going to come over to our broadcaster and check this out. If you are a member, and I know we have a lot of folks visiting us. And obviously, Tamara, they're in defense. That's a great point. I forgot to mention that. Where's Analyze Your Trade? Where is it? That's the one we use. So Analyze Your Trade and Debrief is the portfolio. New GE synthetic stock. And then I paste it in here. So folks, if you're new, I'm showing you exactly, you guys are getting the eavesdrop in on one of our member sessions, and you'd be getting a text alert. So we want to, let me get rid of these. We want to buy the Jan 20, don't put a space in there, 20, 15 calls, sorry. We want to sell the Jan 20, 15 puts. We want to buy the Jan 20, 13 puts. Those are our disaster puts. And then we want to sell the Jan 18, that's the front month, calls at about a 340 debit. And let's go, I'd go plus or minus about 20 cents to get filled on that. Okay. Mike got filled at 329. Awesome. You know what? Then let me change. Let's go down here. You guys are getting 330. So that's even better. You guys are getting better pricing. Okay, Analyze Your Trade, new GA synthetic. Okay, that looks good. So if you are a member, you're going to be looking at your cell phone right now, or some people are like, hey, Wiz, I can't join you Thursdays at 1 o'clock. Folks, I have members. I got an email from a member who said, I've been a member for 3 years and I only know you through recordings because of my work schedule. That was like their first live trade brief they had been able to attend. So you don't have to be here because why? You're going to get a text alert from me. Analyze Your Trade and Debrief, new GE Syn stock. So this is actually going out to some people. Don't get our text alerts for whatever reason. They still haven't picked up the phone to tell their provider that this isn't a spam number. So I send a. So here's what's going to happen next is when I wrap up here, I'm going to render this recording, and then my members will get an email, and I'll send it to the folks that are visiting us as well. They're going to get a page that looks like this with the screenshots of the trade, the GE trade, and also the recording at the bottom. So you don't have to attend all this stuff, folks, right? What call did I sell? Let me bring up the trade. The front month, I sold the Jan 18 calls. Yep, everybody's telling me they got the text. I'm a Hair Club for Men member, and I'm also the president, so I get to make sure I got my text. There it is right there. Yep. Here's my text alert, folks. So this is what we do here at Top Gun Options, folks. And I appreciate, I wasn't ignoring you guys asking. Now a lot of people, the new folks, are asking how to join. So, all right, to my regular members, you guys are cleared off. So we'll start working this trade. I got to work it over at TradeStation. If you're new and you want to join us here at Top Gun Options, here's where you need to go. Here's the page. So for all my members, you guys are cleared off. Have a Merry Christmas. God bless. What a great year. This time next week, we're going to do a 2017 debrief and a 2018 look forward brief. But we had a hell of a year, man. So you guys are cleared off. Let me talk to the folks that potentially want to become members. I haven't ignored you. I just wanted you guys to new members, the best gift you can give yourself. Thanks, HH. I appreciate that. Merry Christmas, guys. Vasilis, JW, Tim, thanks. I appreciate it. We're gonna have a great year. So, all right. If you're new or you're thinking about joining us here at Top Gun Options, let me give you a little bit of a brief. Let me give you the link where you can become a member. Thanks, Benoit. I appreciate that. And HH, thank you, man. Gonna have a very Merry Christmas with my beautiful kids. Love them. They're actually done with school today. They get out today, so I got to get moving here and get you guys this recording in this trade so I can go pick some of them up from school. So you bet, Eli. All right, folks. So if you liked what you saw today, this is just a sample of one of the portfolios that I manage. I manage 4 or 5 portfolios here at TGO, and there's different tracks that you can take. We call it defensive, offensive, or both, right? Defensive means you get access to everything we do except weekly options. We do a weekly options live trade brief every Monday at 1 o'clock. We've had a couple great weekly options trades recently. The S&P 500 and Amazon bull put spread, was it last week for $1,400? $1,400 in a week, guys, which more or less pays for an annual subscription into the defensive track. The offensive track means you get everything that we do here, but instead of accelerated retirement, you get access to that full throttle type of weekly options trading. If that ain't your speed, go defensive. If it is your speed, go offensive. If you want both accelerated retirement and weekly options, you do the max afterburner, okay? And everything's explained on this page. I'm not going to sit here and brief you until I'm blue in the face. You get access to our training, 8 training sessions, folks. That's about 16 hours of training on covered calls, verticals, synthetic stock. So I'll take an hour to explain what synthetic stock was. I know I ripped through that trade, but my members know how to trade them. You get access to all of our workbooks. It's a great deal, folks. I mean, this is how you become a member here at Top Gun Options. Okay, you head to this link, go.topgunoptions.com/getft. That stands for Get Full Throttle. We do have monthly memberships for $195, $245, or $295. And I mean, hell, folks, I just showed you that in a day. Hell, our Brazil trade already paid for a monthly membership in a day on a bull put spread. Well, men lie, numbers don't. I showed you our Apple bull put spread is up $1,400 in a week. So between the EWZ trade yesterday and the Apple bull put spread last week, it's already paid for an annual defensive membership. 2 trades, 1 week, paid for an annual defensive membership of $1,995. And you have some change left over to go Christmas shopping. The offensive annual track is $24.95, and then the max afterburner for a full year is $29.95. Now, if you want to give it a test flight. Some people do a test flight for a month or two at the monthly rate, and then they give us a call and say, hey, Wiz, can we upgrade? Can I upgrade into an annual membership? And of course, the answer is, yeah, you can upgrade. So this is where you need to go right now if you're new and you like what you saw today. I didn't mean to ignore you or any of your questions. I find that doing a marketing webinar sucks. So I just instead I talked to my strategic partner and said, hey, why don't we just let me invite them into a real live trade brief and analyze your trade brief, and we showed you. I showed you the Apple Bull put spread from last week. That thing is set to expire, hopefully, for a max profit of $2,000. $2,000 in 2 weeks. Let me get a hell yeah if you wouldn't mind making $2,000 in 2 weeks. Of course. What else did we cover? What was the other trade? Oh, the CSX trade. Look at the CSX trade from Tuesday. So Tuesday morning, we put on CSX. Poof, look at that pop. We put that trade on here at 51.73, and it's all the way up to 55.21 right now. That trade is up about 10%, and that's a Jan20 trade, folks. That wasn't a bull put spread. That's a Jan20 long call diagonal. This is one of my infrastructure trades. I think CSX. I know, unfortunately, the CEO died. Well, unfortunately, yeah, it sucks for him. It's good for us. We got a good trade going, and this will be an infrastructure trade out to January of 2020. The railroads, I'd get bullish on. FedEx or UPS, I'd get bullish on. So again, men lie, numbers don't. I allowed you guys to come in for a little over an hour and eavesdrop in on what we do here at TGO. The only iffy trade that we have hanging out there right now is MGM. And it's already coming back a little bit, which is great. We have a bear call spread on at 33.5, 34. I think this fades into the close tomorrow, and I think we get below 33.5. So that's a hold. So that's the only 10 winning trades and one iffy trade right now that's at break even. So if you're a little frosty on this one, maybe you close it right now at the break even for a net scratch. But like I said, this is a bear call spread, and it has theta. It has time decay. As they keep yammering on here, we get theta. We get time decay. So, awesome, Benoit. That sounds like a good trade. So, again, if you're new, if you liked what you saw, here's where you need to go to join. We're going to have a great year. 2017, again, Trump did his victory lap yesterday on his tax reform bill. I'm going to do my victory lap on me predicting Trump. This time last fall, I said, not only are the polls lying to you and the media is lying to you, Trump and Goldman Sachs and Citi are lying to you. Remember Citi? 2 days before the election, Citi came out with a report that says Hillary wins by double digits, and if Trump wins, the market's going to implode 10, 15%. I said, they're lying to you. They're wrong. I was out giving speeches last fall, talking to real Americans in between the bookends of liberal Northeast and LA. I knew it was a big lie, folks. We put trades on, like I said, Diane, David, Steve, Mike. Mike was up 150 grand in his one Goldman Sachs trade, 20 contracts, long call diagonal. The guy made 150 grand on my recommendation. I only put 5 contracts on because of my risk, but folks, we're having an absolute blast here. Tudor, how much money should I have in an account for properly to follow your signals? Tudor, I can't tell you that. I can't give investment advice and tell you specifically, but I will tell you look at this, the synthetic stock trade that I looked on right now. Our portfolios are based on $100,000 model portfolios. So this would be a $3,400 debit. Well, Wiz, I don't have that much money. Well, Tudor, what can I tell you? Maybe you do 5 contracts and spend $1,700. Maybe you do 1 and risk or debit 340. Tudor, we have billionaires here. We actually have 2 billionaires here. Yes, they have other people to manage their money, but they're here because they like trading on their own and they like mine. Maybe you do 20 contracts because you're uber rich. So Tudor, the premise of Top Gun Options is you're getting to eavesdrop on what I do as a portfolio manager based on a $100,000 model portfolio. If you got 10 grand, maybe you do 10% of what I do. If you got $1 million, maybe you do double what I do. I can't give you that answer. You just have to kind of do your own math. Does that make sense? For one contract, the minimum in this trade would be what? 300, I think it's $340. So you can trade, you can trade options, folks, and not have a lot of, there are people with very small accounts here, 5 grand, 10 grand. That might be a lot of money for some people, might be not a lot of money for other people. So we have people trading $1 billion portfolios, and we have people trading $10,000 portfolios. So Tudor, I can't give you that exact answer. All you have to do, exactly, Harry. So Harry is a current member. He says, hey, Tudor, you trade the amount of contracts that fits your, I call it SOP, standard operating procedure. Okay. So, you know what, Wiz? I don't want to risk 5 grand on every trade. I only want to risk $1 grand. Then you do less contracts. Does that make sense? Okay, good. All right. Looks like I answered that for a lot of people. So yeah, it just, you, you, you know, I like to use this term a lot, pilot in command. You're the pilot in command of your portfolio. You're getting to watch me fly and fight my F-18, and then you got to fly and fight your own, whether it's a Cessna or, you know, Joint Strike Fighter. Wiz is in his Hornet, and that's what he's doing. I'm in my Cessna, or I'm in my Joint Strike Fighter, and this is what I'm going to do. Okay? Cliff, I trade multiple accounts, but one has $9,000 in it. It works. So there you go, Tudor. Here's a current member. And I know you guys can't see the comments. I'll show you what it is. So there's a screenshot. You guys can see that, right? So there's Cliff. He's one of our members right there. I trade multiple accounts, but one has $9,000 in it. Okay, so Tudor, hopefully that answers. There's one of our current members giving you a little bit of, and that's what's pretty cool, folks. We actually have an interactive forum on our website called the Ready Room, where you guys can go in there and interact with each other and bounce trade ideas off each other. So let me show you what that looks like. The Ready Room. And it looks like my phone's buzzing, which means people are signing up. So here's the Ready Room. This is our interactive forum where you can get in here and talk to each other. CSX long call diagonal, assignment, the bull put spread, Tastyworks, AR trades. This is our interactive forum. So in between our live trade briefs, you can get in here and interact with a lot of our members come in here and throw trades up that they're looking at doing. So they are, hey, can you red team this trade? Take a look at this. Or Wiz, I have a question. So, and for all the new folks, when you get on board, as soon as you get your password, go over here and watch this getting started video. It's about a 20-minute video that tells you about our text alerts, the portfolios, and all sorts of stuff. So take a look at this welcome aboard video as soon as you process your membership, okay? And like I said, my phone's buzzing, which means we're welcoming aboard new members. All right, I'm not going to rattle on too much longer, folks. I got to get going. I got to get you this replay. I have to get you the new trade, the synthetic stock, and then we'll move forward. Kevin, Wiz, you mentioned putting together a webinar or chart reading. On chart reading. Kevin, I might do that next week. I'm doing a 2017 debrief and 2018 brief. Maybe we'll talk about that. Tudor, you're welcome. Hopefully you'll grab your membership here. Go.topgunoptions.com/getft. That means get full throttle. And you can pick your track here. Defensive, offensive, or 80 to 85% of our members are in our max service for $295 a month or $29.95 in a year. Oh, I appreciate that, Harry. Kevin, best money spent. Awesome. Ted, Wiz, you're a huge man. Best wishes for a blessed Merry Christmas, healthy, prosperous. I appreciate that, Ted. That's awesome. Tudor, I never traded options. I'm 100% newbie. Well, welcome aboard, Tudor, because if you're a newbie, as soon as you get on board, as soon as you get your membership, get in here, Tudor, and over the holidays, start watching all of this training, man. We have people who can't even spell the word options who start here at TGO. We have people who are phenomenal options traders, and they get better here. That's the good thing about TGO is we handle all of these skill levels. Okay? Exactly, Cliff. So for all the new members, watch the Getting Started video, and then you'll get access to all of these trainings. So I spend 1 hour to 2 hours on each one of these tactics. Harry says you're in good hands. You bet, Paul. Awesome. All right, guys, I'm going to get going. Everything you need to know about getting on board, as a TGO member is on this page. So head to go.topgunoptions.com/getft. And it should be able to answer any of your questions. I think our phone number is on here in case you want to call and place your order if you have any questions. It's all the way at the bottom, I think. Yep, there you go. If you have a question, you can shoot us an email, support@topgunoptions.com, or give us a call at 754-300-1084. Okay? Thanks, Jim. Another good session. Merry Christmas. All right, folks, I'm going to get going. I got to keep trading. I got to go get my kids from school, and I got to go do some last-minute Christmas shopping. We have had an incredible year here at TGO. We made some epic calls on Trump and the market rally, and I'm looking forward to a very, very good 2018. But we'll talk about that next week in our 2017 debrief and 2018 brief, okay? All right, guys, welcome aboard to all of our new members that are joining right now. It's been an honor to meet you, and we're gonna have a great year. 2018 is gonna be huge, epic, huge. Nobody does 2018 better than me. All right, guys, I gotta run. Have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge. God bless, and welcome aboard to all of our new members. It's gonna be an incredible year. We'll see you.